Welcome to Chalk Talk with 70sbig.com. Today I'm going to talk about something that we're going to refer to as the t-shirt bench. So I got this idea from Jennifer Thompson, who can bench over 300 weighing something like 132. So she's an international level raw powerlifter, and she did an AMA on Reddit a couple years ago and basically mentioned this t-shirt bench thing. So I started incorporating it into programming. So what they do, her and her husband, they'll program a bench press, and so it's a combination of a negative with a speed up portion on the bench, and they are doing it for the sake of working on tightness and speed in the bench. So what they're doing, and they're doing this specifically for powerlifting, they'll go slow on the way down, under control and tight, and then they'll pause just on the shirt, not pressing and letting the weight rest on the chest. They'll pause on the shirt so that they maintain all that tightness, and then they'll explode up as fast as they can, and they'll do sets with that. In her particular post, she was mentioning doing 2 sets of 5 after some other stuff. So what I'm going to show is similar, but I'm not going to pause at the bottom. I'm not training specifically for powerlifting. And so I'm going to show what it looks like. I'm going to use about 100 kilos, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So this will be a set of 4 or 5. Alright, so in this case, if you're not doing the pause, then what you're doing is you're working on the slow eccentric. Eccentric is when a muscle lengthens under tension, and then concentric is when it shortens under tension. So it's contracting and actually applying force. So you're having a controlled eccentric, and then an immediately fast concentric. And that's something that can work on explosiveness and speed in a given lift. So if you've ever heard of tempo reps where you have 4 seconds down, some sort of pause, and then a number of seconds on the way up. So it might be like 3 seconds down, 0, 0 at the bottom, and then 2 seconds on the way up. That's kind of an example of this, and it's a non-complicated way to do it. So come over here. So for the t-shirt bench, in this case, we're working on tightness, remember. So talk about it in another video, but tightness in the bench and the setup is going to be critical to having good strength in the bench and developing that over time. So if you're not solid on the actual bench, you're not solid with your grip and everything, and don't have solid mechanics, then this is all for naught. But so we're assuming we have good mechanics, and we're focusing on that tightness, the heels driving in the ground, and all the weight into the shoulder blades pinched on the bench, controlling it all on the way down and exploding the way up. So we're assuming tightness. We want to have a slow down portion of the bench and a fast up. Now as far as percent, what Jennifer was using at the time, she said she was using like 195 or something. So that worked out to be about 65% of 300. So she's doing about 65%, and I think she's doing 2 sets of 5. So you can speed work is done like in that 55 to 65% range. So in this case, I don't think it really matters. You can go 55 to 75. It's a huge ass range, but it's kind of dependent on where you're at in your training. And I'll talk about why you can creep up to 75% in a little bit. So as far as reps go, you could do just a simple 3 sets of 5, 5 sets of 3, I even wrote 8 sets of 2. The theme here is that they're all kind of around that about 15 reps of total volume at that given weight. So again, if you're training specifically for powerlifting, you can have that pause. And I bet that they would argue for the pause all the time because it would help with that tightness at the bottom. I'm not so concerned with that given that I'm not competing in powerlifting, but so if you are, you can pause. If you're thinking about competing, go ahead and pause. I don't think it really matters because you're just doing speed work. We're using this for speed work as well as a good negative. Lastly, you can get bang for your buck with this. So let's say that you had a heavy bench session on week A, or you don't have a lot of time in this given session that you're doing, or that you're just trying to have a medium session, but you want a little bit of a better stress than a medium session. Speed work is going to be how you can get a better stress to help augment whatever your training is. So instead of doing, if I was just going to do 3 sets of 5 slow, I'm going to get a different training effect out of it if I'm doing 3 sets of 5 with a controlled eccentric and an explosive concentric. So you're going to get more bang for your buck with a given weight. In this case, whatever 100 kilos is from whatever my max is. So those are considerations taken too if you're going to try out the t-shirt bench, but it'll work great, especially if you're coming off of a heavy day and whether you're feeling tired, sore, or you don't have a lot of time. It's a way to get good work on the bench, work on your tightness, work on your explosiveness, and that's all very important in benching, especially if you're going to compete. So this is 70s Big signing off with Chalk Talk.